Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Matt.
And I'm Sadie, and welcome to
Ministry in the Mess. Okay, so this is our inaugural episode. I'm a little nervous. It's 10:40 at night. It took a while to get the kids to sleep, so we're starting this one late. But we are so excited to be here. It's been a lot of fun prepping this podcast. Thank you for all the work that you did. It's been a lot of work on your part. Not much work on my part. I just set up these lights and set up a table. And
you're the talent and the brains.
I'm production. I'm in front of the camera some, but yeah, we're here for our first episode for Ministry in the Mess. What is Ministry in the Mess?
It's a podcast idea that we had. I don't know. I just thought that people might care or at least want to hear what we have to say. Maybe not hear what we have to say, but maybe find us relatable.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm really excited about this. In my life, I say I'm really excited about a lot of things. So this is going to be something that I need to figure out how to say in other words than I'm excited, but I'm excited. So we have young kids. We have a 4-year-old and an almost 11-month-old. We are new into our ministry, into our biblical ministry. We are leaders in our church. Sandy, my wife, who we'll talk about in a second, is our children's church director. Wow. Some 8 years? Can you correct me? 8 years?
I was saved when I was 18.
Okay.
So it's been 11 years.
11?
I was a believer.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. 11 years into her following Christ, and she is leading our children's church. And I couldn't be more proud. I was going to say prouder. But I'm really proud of you and all the work that you do. She runs our VBSs at church. I don't know how far I am off the camera. I'll try to get a little closer to you. Yeah.
You're such a YouTuber. You keep looking at the camera.
I know. I can't stop. My life, I look at the camera. Sandy calls me a junior pastor. Why do you call me a junior pastor?
Because you're not in the same, you're in the rotation, but you're not on there as much as the other pastors. So you're on there a third of the time that the other pastors are on there. So
yeah,
you're still kind of learning how to preach.
Yeah, that's true. Behind us, you can't see, but you can see there's blue on there. That's the preaching calendar on the far right there. I preach 6 times the rest of the year, so I've got one coming up in a couple weeks, which I'll be excited to talk about in other episodes. But yeah, that's a little bit about us, and we'll get in a little bit more about who we are and why you should care about us. I'm looking at you. I
know. You said you wanted to look at each other.
I know. Well, when we talk about other things. Okay, so why do you need to listen to us? I really don't know.
You don't need to listen to us. You just might find us relatable.
Yeah.
We come from 2 totally different backgrounds, which I thought a lot of times you see Christian podcasts where they both grew up in church or something like that, or they both had this really powerful testimony, but we have 2 different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that can clash, but a lot of times it can help too. So I just thought we might be relatable to some people, or might have interesting thoughts and interesting conversations that we have to work through. Yeah,
it's been interesting is a good word for our conversations on just a lot of things regarding the Bible and things outside the Bible. But yeah, please tell the audience who we are.
So we've been married for 6 years. We've been together for 8 years. Like you already said, we have a son, Everett, who is 4 and just started preschool.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And a daughter, Hazel, who is 10 months old. She will turn 1 year old in October. But yeah,
that's.
We preach and we teach.
We do. Yeah, I junior pastor. I do preach sometimes.
You preach and teach. I just teach and sing.
Yeah,
we also sing.
Yeah, we are worship leaders at our church. So we lead every Wednesday. We lead some Sundays. I play the drums on Sundays. When Sandy's teaching, children's church director here. But yeah, we do a lot for our church. It is really, it's something that we love to do. We love ministry. It's a lot of fun. We also go to other churches to enjoy their worship and enjoy their services. That's something that Sandy likes to say, that you like to give and receive.
It's like work one, worship one, or something like that.
Yeah, we heard a sermon from a pastor at another church that said, yeah, he tells his staff to work one.
Mm-hmm. Well, that works more for a bigger church, I feel like. Like to stay in that church. Our church is local and it's pretty small. So we do have kind of a lot of responsibility. You know, there's never a service where we're not doing something.
Yeah.
Or we're not working something. So in order for us to have a service where we don't have to do anything, we kind of have to go to maybe like a bigger one, just to have one service where we can kind of take it all in.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's true. Sandy also,
our church doesn't have multiple services, on a Sunday. It's one service.
Yeah, we have small groups at 9:45 and then service big church at 11, and then Wednesday has worship at 6:30 and then small groups at 7. Sandy, being the children's church director, she has staff that she can employ
I don't employ them. They volunteer their time graciously.
Yes.
I have teachers that I schedule.
Yep, that's it. So yeah, she teaches that, and I've also taken up the role of our adult Wednesday night teacher. So I've been teaching a lot of those classes. So that's been a lot of fun. We've been going through different studies or different books of the Bible. We're in James right now, but we're going through some different things. But a little bit about me. My name is Matt. Do we want to say our last names? I think it's
sure.
Sure. I'm Matt Bramer. This is my wife, Sandy Bramer. Yeah, I'm as Sandy alluded to earlier, we have different backgrounds in our faith journey, and just in general. I'm a pastor's kid. If you don't know what that means, congratulations. If you do know what that means.
By the way, I will say we're not giving our full testimony in this episode.
Yeah.
I think that could be a later episode where we can each give our full testimony. This is just kind of at the surface level who we are.
Yeah.
Kind of introduce. So anyway.
Yeah. I'm Matt Bramer, pastor's kid. I did grow up in church. Both my parents were believers. I have an older brother who is 5 years older than I am, who has a family of his own. I, as Sandy talked about, not our full testimony, but I was baptized when I was 7 and then really dedicated my life when I was in high school. And I graduated in 2015. In middle school, do we want to... We'll talk about how we met, because I did... Going straight through my life, 2015, graduated high school, 2016, started college, 2016, reconnected with Sandy. Then I went to school for photography. Then I fell in love with Sandy. And then I got engaged to Sandy, bought a house. We got married. I'm just bullet through. Yeah. I'm just a pastor's kid. I'm just here. I'm loving my life. I've been married to Sandy, as she said, 8 years. We've been together 8 years, been married 6 years. We have a son, Everett, daughter, Hazel. Our son, Everett, has epilepsy, so that's been something that we've had to pray about and learn about and deal with. He is now 8 months seizure free. So that's something we are so blessed and so thankful for. But yeah, that's me. I did recently graduate college. I got my diploma over there. It's in the package. But yeah, that's me. I'm going to stop talking now and let Sandy talk.
Well, I did not grow up in church. And I come from a bit of a broken home. My parents divorced when I was 3 years old. And my biological father put us through a lot as kids. I eventually stopped speaking to him when I was about 18 or 19 years old. After I graduated high school. I am now 29. But that stuff definitely still affects me as an adult in multiple aspects of my life that I still, learn about today, how that affects me. But I graduated from Indiana University in 2018 with a bachelor's degree in psychology. Mm-hmm. I married my wonderful husband also in 2018 and became pregnant with our first child a year later. He was born in 2020, and I went right back to work, 6 weeks postpartum. Never thought that I would be a stay-at-home mom. I had big career dreams. Hadn't really figured out exactly what part of psychology I wanted to go into, but I wanted to do something in psychology. Eventually, I started working as a registered behavior therapist in an autism therapy center, and absolutely fell in love with the work, the kids, everything about that. And that's where I kind of found my passion in like work and career.
Yeah, every day that she would come home from work, she would lit up. I could definitely tell that you really enjoyed that job.
Yeah. However, 6 months into that job, God had other plans, and because of childcare issues, and I had to quit and come home to take care of our son, Everett. And this is where I found another passion. Growing up, like I said, I never thought I was going to be a stay-at-home mom or enjoy it or be good at it. But here I am 3 years later, still doing it. And I wouldn't change a single second. Still not good at it, but, there are times where I have truly thanked God for putting that barrier in my way and making me, because otherwise I would have never been like, hey, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. I would have never done that. So God kind of had to force that out of me. Like you said, our son has epilepsy, and he suffered his first seizure right after a midday nap. And if I was still working, he would have been at daycare when that happened. And I don't like to think about the possibility of if they even would have caught it and all that stuff. But thank the Lord I was home, and I was the one who saw that. But
and that's something we can get into in another episode, because that was a very traumatic experience. It's been traumatic. It's been good. He's 8 months seizure free now, but there were times when he wasn't seizure free. So we can definitely, if you've experienced that, we definitely can understand. Everett's had a very, would you consider, mild case? I mean, he's had 4 seizures in his life.
He's had 7.
7 seizures in his life.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's mild, but it's definitely, I know of some kids who have multiple in a day, every day. And, but yeah.
But yeah, that'll
we
be
can
a
talk
conversation.
about
That'll be
that later, but
another time.
It definitely kick-started my fear. So anyway, we can talk about it in depth another episode maybe. But anyway, now I've taken on our children's ministry at church. I've been doing that since around 2022. I think I've been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah.
This is my 3rd VBS, so.
We count by VBSs.
Yeah, seriously, I do. Because VBS was like my first thing after I took it on.
That's funny.
It's been super fun to learn alongside the kids, because like I said, I didn't grow up in church, so I am learning a lot as I am teaching the kids. And I love to just bring the stories of the Bible down to a kid's level of understanding. I find that really fun. I really enjoy it. But our daughter was born in October of 2023, about to turn 1, and I'm just chugging along in the trenches of motherhood.
Yeah.
And thanking the Lord every day for these years, no matter how trying they are. Yeah. And how tired I am. Like, I can't stop yawning right now.
That might be the, not epiphany, but like the nucleus of the atom. Yeah, both of our chairs are pretty loud. These are our office chairs.
I
This is our office.
You guys can hear it, but
what's the whatever the being tired is kind of what started this idea for a podcast. Because Sandy and I, we're Christians. We have our Bibles. We read our Bibles and stuff, and we listen to Christian podcasts. We have all these people that we look up to in their ministry and things like that, and we kind of bounced around a couple ideas of different names for the podcast, and Ministry in the Mess kind of really fit the situation. Over there is boxes full of diapers and wipes and toys and our house is a mess. Our life is somewhat in line, but it's kind of the idea for the podcast, and we were really excited to just do this. How long do you think we've been talking about this before? It's been 2 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks, and I, the production man, have been really excited to get this set up. I've had the table set up for about a week now. It's been really exciting. But yeah, so Sandy and I met to rein it back into us. Sandy and I met in school. Sandy grew up in Clarksville, where we are around.
I came to Clarksville when I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
But we went to different elementary schools, but then we went to the same middle school.
Yeah. And I was friends with Sandy's brother. And then one time, Sandy and I started dating in middle school. So I was, head over heels, the girl.
No, we dated for the first time in middle school.
What did I say?
Dating.
What did I say?
You said we started dating, so we haven't been dating since middle school.
No. Yeah, we dated for 3 months in middle school. I fell in love. We had our first kiss, my first kiss, at the dance.
Not mine.
Not.
There's a lot of times that
it was whatever.
things were your first.
I have a vivid core memory of when I told Sandy's brother that I was dating her. He was like, "What?" I could input that meme of Stephen. It's not Stephen Curry. Who is that guy? Russell Westbrook. There he is. Yeah, you're a big Russell Westbrook fan. But yeah, so we dated in middle school for 3 months. I fell in love with you. You didn't tell me you loved me at the school dance, and then I had to go to my Revolution weekend, and I didn't know if you loved me. And then you broke my heart, and I cried to my friends. And then life goes on. And then we went through school, and then around after I graduated high school, I don't know, I was really into 21 Pilots.
So we rekindled.
Mm-hmm. I jumped a few years in this conversation.
What is that? What was that? My sophomore year of?
Had to be, yeah.
Or sophomore or junior year of college. Yeah, I reached out to you because you were posting videos of 21 Pilots, which I also loved. And that's how we rekindled our friendship.
Yeah, it did start as a friendship. And I immediately...
you were being mean to me at first.
Let's see. I don't know how to talk to girls. I still don't, somewhat. But
you don't need to be talking to girls.
No, I don't. I talk to you. Let me just rein it in. I had a pastor's kid. If you don't know... we sometimes have wild streaks, and my wild streak involved trying to talk to as many girls as I could to make them like me, and not many did. But where was I going with this? I wasn't very good at communicating.
The first time I asked you to hang out, you said no.
Yes. Yeah. There was...
But then we did hang out, and you were like, I have feelings for you, and I was like, nah.
And I probably said that within the day that we started hanging out.
I think it was the same night that we hung out.
Yeah. I very easily have feelings, or did, but I knew Sandy.
And he said, I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
No matter how long it takes.
Yeah. I am would you consider me a hopeless romantic in some ways? No.
Well,
Am I romantic in any way?
Well,
hey, just if you heard that is our baby monitor. We've got it on the table over here that we're watching.
Well, I would say maybe I think you think like a romantic, but you're not really a romantic. Like, you're not going to plan a romantic dinner. You're not going to plan anything romantic. But
I like to consider myself
you
romantic.
do think in a romantic way. I'd say.
Tomorrow I'm teaching.
You romanticize a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
But you don't you're not a romantic actions person.
Yeah, here's the thing. Tomorrow I'm teaching a lesson, and we're talking about if we've ever praised someone for their ambition and their abilities or something like that. And I wrote in the notes, I'm very selfish, not very good. I can appreciate when someone appreciates me. I struggle at the act of showing my appreciation. Again, that was a bit of a tangent.
Anyway, let's get back on topic.
Yeah.
So we did end up, I did end up, we had our friendship, and I was like, okay, I guess I like him. He's great. And
he's great.
I actually asked him to be my boyfriend on July 6th, 2016.
Yeah.
And
I
then
still
we
have
were
the note in
engaged
my wallet.
8 months later.
Yeah. We
I think it's kind of typical of a Christian relationship. I won't say everybody does it, but like a lot of times, because like you just know, and like there's no point in. Well, I won't say that. If you want to wait, you can. But for us, it was like there's no point in waiting to get engaged, and we just know that this is what we want.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that. I mean,
we did have a long engagement though. We were engaged for 1.5 years.
Yeah.
We got married on July 7th, 2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. Yeah, that was a really fun time. Our engagement. I mean, it was just. Yeah, we should have another episode about that.
I was still in college.
Yeah, that was quite. Yeah, Sandy went to school.
Spent some of our engagement apart. Well, not apart, but like.
Yeah. Sandy,
I was in Bloomington for some of that time.
Mm-hmm. So. And I was driving my 1996 Honda Accord up to Bloomington almost every week. It seemed there was a lot of time there was not a lot of time that I didn't spend there. Yeah, it was great. But yeah, we got married in 2018.
That's us.
And that is our
and
dating
then
relationship.
Got pregnant a year later. Had our first child, like we said. 2020, second child, 2023.
Yeah, this first episode we just want to...
Introduction.
Yeah, the introduction.
What is going on?
Yeah. We did ask some of our family and some social media what good names would be, and we didn't tell what we were doing or why we were doing it, so this is what we're doing and why we're doing it. But yeah, so what is, with this ministry in the mess, what is the importance of faith in family life? Something is like foundational to why we're starting this podcast.
Yeah. So really we're just talking about life. And
for a long time. I think it's sound, and I think the sound is us.
Really?
I think it's hearing.
That loud?
I'm pretty loud. According to the garage band, yeah, I'm pretty loud. I'll be a little quieter.
Yeah. But really we're just talking about, our life. It's it can be chaotic, obviously, with young kids, and we're young and stuff. And how we kind of find the times to make ministry important and carve out time for God and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's...
So,
whoa,
anyway.
That's good.
Oh, my gosh. So, anyway, our faith is at the core of who we are as people, separately and together as a married couple.
Yeah, when speaking of, when I asked for your hand, it ended at our church.
Yeah.
Which I wanted Christ to be important in our relationship. And I think...
Got married in our church.
We did. And I think... And you can correct me. I think Christ has become more important now than at the beginning of our relationship. Or at least the beginning of our marriage. I think now that we're in ministry, it's sort of at the forefront of our conversations daily. Or at our prayers when we eat or sleep or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's like... when we got engaged, you had your faith and I had my faith, and now it's kind of like it's almost like our faith in a way. Mm-hmm. Like we have a little bit of like a triangle, as they say. Anyway, so it's on our hearts, and in Matthew 12:34 it says, "For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of." So if our hearts are full of Jesus, his name should constantly be on our lips, which reminds me of the worship song, Ever Be. Your praise will ever be on my lips. Yep. That's not how I really sing, but that's how I sing when I'm not being serious.
Yep, Sandy's a very good singer. It's this, for a little behind the scenes, this is how we come up with songs for Wednesday worship. We gotta have an idea, and then that would be good for worship. So truly, faith in family life. If you don't have faith, what do you have? Gosh, I am talking very loudly. Sometimes things happen in life that you have no control over. You can work your tail off for that big paycheck, which is something that we discuss a lot. Single income house. It is important to not focus on money, to focus on family and faith. That's something that Sandy has ingrained in me. as we've grown older and had kids
Poor.
and grown older and poorer. That's right. In times like these, older and poorer, you have to have faith. Faith is the only thing that holds it all together. It makes it bearable, because without faith, you don't really have anything. God is intentional in all things. Your suffering is intentional. When you make it through the suffering, you will be so much stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we truly believe that faith has saved our marriage time and time again, multiple times. Because when we fall on hard times, we're not looking on to the other person to save us. You know, we're going straight to God, and we're not looking at. I'm not looking at you to be like, what's the solution? How are you going to figure this out? How are you going to get us through this?
That's good.
And then in turn, I'm not blaming you when you inevitably fail, because you're a human and you will fail without God. So the first thing that we do is we look to God. We turn our prayers, our hopes, our sorrows, our cries for help all go to Him. They don't go to each other. And we know that He never fails. I remember praying together in the church parking lot when we were dating. And we've still done that. And sometimes with the chaos of life, we don't, which is bad. We don't think about it sometimes at first.
What's that?
Praying. Whenever we're like struggling financially. I pray about it myself a lot, but I don't think sometimes our prayer life together could improve.
Sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we did want to share some Bible verses with you guys that talk about faith in a family setting.
Yeah. Joshua 24:15, and this is something that I love. These verses. These are great verses that something that I want to probably read on a daily basis to just really ingrain them on my heart. But yeah, Joshua 24:15. I've got another Bible verse prepared. Okay, Joshua 24:15. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I love that.
I think that's a pretty common one. It's one of the ones you see on decor a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's powerful.
It stands on its own as not really needing much explanation.
Is that in the New Testament or Old Testament?
Joshua is the Old Testament.
Yeah, there's nothing you guys will learn about me is I am still pretty new. And like learning my Bible. So a lot of times I turn to Matt to tell me where it's at. I know.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm just looking for this because I was wondering.
Good one. You turn right to it.
Like what the story is behind that.
Yeah, so the Lord's covenant renewed. We like to, when we go through these things, I like to look at the title of each chapter heading or topic heading. So this is when Joshua is about to die, actually. Because after the Joshua, then it goes on to the kings.
It looks like they're talking about other gods, too, that people were worshiping. This is just for me skimming. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong. That there's... Would you, prefer the other gods? And then he's like, but whatever you guys do in me and my family, we're going to serve the Lord, which is pretty relevant in today's society of people worshiping all kinds of other things and people. Yeah. And for us, it's like, well, no matter what the world and society is doing, us here, we're going to serve God.
Yeah.
Our next one is Proverbs 22:6. This is a good one. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. And really, that's just our lifelong prayer as parents, is that we instill in our children a faith and something that they can always have that foundation on. So even, and I'm not even going to say if they ever backslide or if they ever stray, and when they do, they will have that strong foundation to come back to.
Yeah, it was definitely a good test of our faith when Everett started preschool. His preschool had, not just...
First of all, our child goes to public school, and I do want to just say, if you are a Christian household, it is okay to send your child to public school, and it's okay to send your child to private school, and it's okay to homeschool them, whatever you think is best for your kids. We decided on public school, and I see so many Christian households...
Yeah, public school. We were both public
so
school.
many Christian households that homeschool, and that's great for them. That's not what I wanted for me or my children. just not what was right for us. And so I just want to say it's okay to send your kid to public
wherever.
school.
Wherever. I had
And we know
friends growing up that were homeschooled. I had friends that... I don't know if I had any friends that went to private school. Maybe some when I was playing on baseball teams, but yeah, that school is hard. You gotta.
Well, and we know that we're going to be fighting against some things with our faith, and
I mean,
we just know that
2024. You know, the world is.
Yeah, and we just know that
crazy right now.
We'll have to. He'll come home one day and ask us questions, and we'll just tell him what this is what we believe, and this is what
and answer the question.
Yeah, this is what we believe, and this is what the society says, and I just want him to know both. And
next we're in Ephesians 4 or Ephesians 6, and I could just rattle off all of Ephesians because I love Ephesians. I have Ephesians 2:10 tattooed on me. We could even talk about the armor of God because that's just the best. But this is Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. I have a 4-year-old and I have an 11-month-old. We'll call her 11 months old. This is very hard for me. I am quick to anger because I, as a preacher's kid, I don't think I had many high expectations from my parents, but I think it was more on my own. And I think we've talked about this, but I think the expectations that I put on myself was not from anyone else. It was all me. We heard a podcast the other day. We listen to a lot of podcasts. Heard a podcast the other day that talked about the pastor's kids are not the church's
this was from
kids.
Priscilla Shire and Lecrae.
Yeah.
So we want to give credit to Priscilla Shire. She's the one who said that.
Yeah.
That you are not the church's kids. You are my kids.
Yeah. And pastor's kids, children, pastor's kids, or whatever, might not know everything. So it's the expectations are put on you from a very young age if you are a pastor's kid of some capacity. But this 6:4, Ephesians 6:4, fathers, don't provoke your children to anger. This is something I'm working on, and I will continue to work on.
Okay, our next one is Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 6 and 7. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. I love those two because that's what we should be doing. His commandments and his words should always be on our heart. We should be talking about them to our children. We should be talking about them at home. We should be talking about them wherever we're at. When we're on the road, when we lie down, when we wake up.
Yeah. We have there's a woman at our church who always brings up that when she wakes up, she thanks God for another day. And Everett and I prayed before bed. He said, what did we do today? And then we talked about all the stuff we did today because we went all over town and stuff. And he said, can we thank God for that? I said, sure. So we did, and I said, do you want to pray? He said, yes. And I said, okay. He didn't say anything. And I said, do you want me to pray? He said, yeah, I want you to pray. So then we prayed. Okay, next is Psalm 127, verses 3 through 5. I've got it here. Behold, children are a gift of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior, so are the children of one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. They will not be ashamed when they speak with their enemies in the gate. Oh, see, mine goes a little further. Oh, is it? Anyways, yeah. Another discussion could be translations. I use the new.
I think when you read this, sometimes it can make it look like.
Thank you for stopping me.
And by the way. Listen, I just have to say. Sometimes I'm wrong when I read scripture, and that's okay. I am
fallible.
I am still new, even though it's been 11 years, and I'm still learning a lot. And
I think even I can learn new things every. Yeah, that chair is loud.
Yes, I am very good at being corrected. So
I'm not.
Anyway, but sometimes I also think that I'm pretty good at seeing things from other people's point of view. So sometimes when I read, I might think of what would a non-believer or even someone who's vehemently against the Christian religion, what would they think when they read this scripture? And when I read this one, sometimes I think, well, you're just using your kids as something else. Because it says, like arrows in the hands of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. But if we're fighting for the Lord and we're fighting, to us, it's like we're fighting for the Lord, and we know that the society just keeps on. I mean, there's nothing, like we say, there's nothing new under the sun, right? Nothing new under the sun. Like all these things have been happening.
Well, we say that, but the book of Ecclesiastes says that.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting.
We're fighting
about the and I don't know if you're going to go on with the blessed is a man whose quiver is full of them. That's where some people get the idea to have lots of children.
Yes. They want a quiverful.
Yeah. Hey, I like that.
But what I was saying is we are fighting. Well, I mean, there's always going to be this kind of war between God and the world because we are not of the world. And if we are training a child up in the way that they should go, then we have someone to continue that war, to fight on behalf of the Lord.
Yeah.
When we're gone.
Yeah.
That didn't really come out as well as in my head. That happens a lot to me.
No, but I see.
In my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had this epiphany of like this really good thought, and then I start talking, and then I'm like, oh, that sounded like I'm stupid.
No, but I think that's really good. I think going to the train up your children in a way, even when they're old and you depart from them. Yeah, we have to show our children the love of God and that God loves them and that they are to show God's light to the world. And that's our role as parents, and that's something just like sending them off to public school. It's hard to give them the opportunity to fail when we want them to succeed and when we want them
or for other people to fail them. That's where my fears are, for somebody to treat my children badly or to let them down or to really just hurt their feelings. Yeah. That's what really gets me. It's like, I'm okay with them failing. They're going to fail, you know? I just am not as okay with someone failing them and I wasn't there to pick up the pieces in the moment, you know? Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and read the next one?
Yeah, this is a good one. Do you want me to read the verses prior to that? No. So Sandy is the mastermind behind some of the show notes that we've got that we're reading on our screens in front of us. And she has graciously given me the opportunity to speak of Ephesians 5, verses 25, which if you have your Bibles, go ahead and open them up. Husbands.
Are you going to preach to them now? Open up your Bibles. We're going to do a Bible study.
Hey, absolutely. Junior pastor here, Matt. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for her. That if we husbands lived our lives thinking about that every day.
Oh, wait, no.
Well, I mean, we can, but we can go backwards. We're talking about wives submitting to your husbands, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, 5:22. Wives, this means submit. Let's go from 21, because really you need the full context. And further, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. That's the big kind of umbrella of these next verses, is submitting to one another out of reverence for Christ. For wives, this means submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For husband is the head of his wife as Christ is the head of the church. He's the savior of his body, the church. As the church submits to Christ, so you wives should submit to your husbands in everything. For husbands, this means love your wives just as Christ loved the church. He gave up his life for her to make her holy and clean, washed by the cleansing of God's word. We could always get into that in another episode. That could be a whole nother episode, submitting and what that means.
And then continuing verse 28, so husbands ought to love their wives, their own wives as their bodies. He who loves his own wife loves himself, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ
Let's just
also
keep
does the
going.
church.
31, as the scriptures say, a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. This is a great mystery, but is an illustration of the way Christ and the church are one. So again, I say each man must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband.
Thank you, Paul. That was very good. Good words. Yeah, that could be something that we need to just read every day, just to be in the mindset of the importance of the marriage, importance of our relationship, importance of your
the sanctity of marriage, really.
Respect. I know you are often concerned with respect. Yeah. Sanctity of marriage, very good. Yeah.
What God intended it, and the marriage to be like a sacred thing. And
yeah.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a heavy burden. But for those who, marriage is hard. Marriage is messy. Marriage is fun. Marriage is difficult, but it's very rewarding. Not just for the kisses, but also for just a life full of love and happiness.
it's really just a partnership. Let's having and a fellowship, really, all the time.
Yeah, you're my accountability partner for sure. Okay.
So, what can you guys expect in future episodes?
First off, I just want to say I was expecting us to talk for 15 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, you get me in front of camera, lights on, microphone on. We're right now at about 43 minutes. So you're in for a treat for these episodes. Sandy's got her Alani new. She is energized.
I am not.
However, we've got a couple more words left. What should you expect from future episodes of the podcast, Ministry in the Mess podcast? We just are here to talk about life in whatever way, shape, or form that takes. We have 2 kids. I work. I
work too, just not outside of the home.
Right. Yeah. How do you want to talk about that? How do you want to say that I work?
Well,
I am the sole
I'm not going to sit here and say I work. I do work, but you work for the income. But just that we both have a work to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether that is providing the funds to put the food on the table or making
Cooking
the food.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I have something to ask after the podcast. Off camera. That's okay. We just wanted to talk about our life, our church responsibilities, our family. Things are pretty chaotic, really, anytime. It's really fun. We have a calendar that we look at every day. Sandy sets up a pretty calendar on the wall. We got Google, Apple calendars or whatever. It's really nice when there's not many things to do, but sometimes there's a lot of things to do. Everett has done a lot this year. He's done T-ball, which was really awesome. Coach Matt, T-ball. I got to coach him, so that was really fun. Life is pretty hectic. We as parents, a lot of the times, are running on empty. Sandy probably more than me because I get a lot of sleep. Sandy does not. Breastfeeding mom, right? Is that what breastfeeding?
Yes, exclusively
Breastfeeding.
Anyway, with all of that, it can be really hard to prioritize Christian values in your children in your home. And so we just want to talk about that, and we want you to feel like you can relate to us and you're not alone. But I'll tell you what we're not here to do.
Here we go.
We are not here to tell you how to raise your kids or to even act like we have it all together, because we absolutely do not, and we mess up all the time. I'll be the first one to tell you I yell way too much. I lose my patience. Well, we both lose our patience regularly. But we also regularly acknowledge our sin and ask for forgiveness and God's strength to help us be better. And I'm definitely not going to sit here and tell you this is how you should do it. I'm just going to tell you, hey, this is what I'm doing. And this is how my week went. And this is what we tried and it worked. And this is what we tried and it failed. Because most of the time it fails.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll tell you a little bit about my parenting. I'm not a gentle parent, but I'm also not, I don't know how to say it. I guess like kind of the old school parenting. Personally, we don't believe in spankings. We don't do spankings, but I do believe in discipline very much. I like to call my parenting mindful parenting.
Discipline is something that we've been working on. I would like to consider, as doctors are practicing medicine, we are practicing discipline. We'll never
Okay.
perfect it.
Yes. Okay. That's for another episode.
Mm-hmm.
But as having a degree in psychology, I think a lot about how my actions will affect my children when they are adults, because if you have ever studied psychology, then you know that most of our problems stem from our childhood. So knowing that, everything that I do, I think about, is ever going to be in a therapist's office and he's older saying, this is what my mom did and this is how it screwed me up for the rest of my life. And that's
Wow.
that's how I live my life every day. But really, I just am always trying to, every choice that I make in parenting, I'm doing it with a mindful approach of how is this going to affect my kids in the long run. And I don't just think of how is this going to make my day easier right now. I think of how is this going to affect him. Is he going to go to sleep tonight thinking about this was a bad day and
did we go to sleep?
My parents hate me, or my parents love me and I'm safe.
Yeah. Did he go to sleep shortly after a yelling match for not getting in his bed when he needed to get in his bed, or when did dad yell at him because he was
and I fail a lot,
Yeah.
and I'm up all night thinking about it. Anyway, is that a good parenting strategy? I don't know, but that's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
So.
We 27, 29. I will be 28 in next month. Thank you for your birthday. I'm just kidding. But we grew up in a world or in a time when it was okay to spank your kids or hit your kids or get the paddle. When I was in,
And we're not here telling you that it's not okay to spank your kids. Like I said, I'm not telling you how to raise your kids.
I've got a degree in computer science. I don't know how to treat my children other than
if you spank your kids, that is your business.
Yeah. You do you. We are not your advice podcast. I considered adding in a tagline that said your one-stop shop. No, we're not giving you. We're giving you our. Are we giving thoughts?
I'm just talking.
We're just. We've got a microphone, lights, and a camera. You can listen
I'm just
or
talking, and
leave.
For anyone who will listen.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyone
His
who
jokes
listen,
fall flat a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. I'll add in a laugh track. That was
Anyway,
pretty funny tonight at the campsite.
It's because you had a lot of people around you.
Yeah, they laughed.
They were older.
That's where I get my laughs.
That is true.
Yeah. So
anyway, let's talk about some other episode ideas that we have that you might look forward to.
yeah.
So we do want to interview Everett. We thought that would be cute.
Yeah.
He really wants to be on the podcast.
Yeah, he can probably last about 5 minutes. So we'll see. If we
5 minutes.
break it up, we'll probably move it into different rooms so he can pay attention. Yeah.
An interview with Everett. We thought a couples quiz would be cool, just to get to know us as a couple.
Yeah, you heard a lot of our story, but you don't know the intricacies.
The day-to-day couple life.
Whether I like bananas or not. I don't.
Growing up as a pastor's kid, I thought it would be fun to interview.
Oh, that's interesting.
Have questions for you.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah. How we try to teach our kids about Jesus.
Yeah, we've recently acquired an action Bible.
I
so
do
that's been a lot of
try.
fun.
I try a lot. I didn't grow up learning about Jesus very much. I had a great grandmother who took me to Catholic church when I was very young, and then that stopped. So
you should tell them what Hazel does when music comes on.
She praises.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a praise song.
Our 11-month-old is definitely in our Sandy and I. Our worship I wouldn't say begins with music, but it definitely enhances our worship, and that's where we get.
Music is very important to me. It's how I feel that my relationship with Jesus.
Yeah, we as worship leaders and as just people that love music, it's definitely music is something that's very important. And our children love music, and they love Jesus music, and they love worship music, and they love all kinds of music. We listened to VeggieTales today, and that was fun.
Anyway, keep going.
You're
going off on tangents, bud.
Hey, I'm just
We've almost been talking for an hour.
I'm gonna keep talking. A couple other episodes. Life as a Christian in today's world. Intentional communication. Or intentional communicating. That's something that I am interested in talking about and maybe learning more about and how to do more. Would you like to say this last note?
The keys to a firm marriage. That was your idea.
Keys to a firm marriage is what I wrote.
We feel like we have the keys. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's just
we can learn about what might be some good keys to implement.
Yeah, that would be good. Like, yeah, we could read an article and discuss. But yeah, that is what you are to expect from Ministry in the Mess podcast. Now, Sandy was really excited about this last bit.
Yes, I came up with this thing called a wow moment that we'll do at the end of each podcast episode. WOW, word of the week. So basically we'll have a Bible verse every week that we meditate on and we pray on, and we just try to see how that verse might affect us for the week. How that verse has come back to us throughout the week, or how it spoke to us throughout the week. So basically I'll give our Bible verse for this next week, and then we'll just see if that Bible verse comes back to us throughout the week.
Okay.
And then at the next podcast we'll talk about how it spoke to us throughout the week. Do you want to go ahead and share what our next week's Bible verse is going to be for us?
Sure. Yeah. And yes, this is Psalm 46, verse 10, the New American Standard Version.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that for just one single little second.
No tangents here.
When we read scripture, I am reading out of NLT, and Matthew is reading out of NASB. NASB.
Now.
And he's going to, don't go off on a tangent, because he's going to give you his theological seminary.
No,
something or other.
It could change every week, what I read.
So if he reads something and I read something, then you're like, are y'all reading the same book?
If you're interested, I can put the Bible verses on the screen.
We are, but we're reading different versions. I just believe NLT is much easier for me to understand and to...
Word for word translations and thought for thought and this and that. Okay, Psalm 46:10. Stop striving and know that I am God.
Be still.
I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted on the earth. That is, God is our refuge.
Yeah, let me read it in the NLT real quick.
That might be what we can do.
Just for funsies.
You're good.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be honored by every nation. I will be honored throughout the world. Be still and know that I am God.
That's interesting. Yeah, stop striving and know that I am God.
Be still.
I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted.
So we'll be thinking about that for the next week.
Yeah.
We also would like to tell you guys about, because like we said, worship's really important to us. So I thought it would be fun to share our favorite worship song of the week. Each of us can have our own, because we don't always listen to the same worship music, and why that song is speaking to us. Do you want to do that now, or do you want to start that next?
I've got two. The first one is "This Is the Gospel" by Elevation Rhythm. It's really good.
Very.
I wonder if I can.
It's very youth. It's forward. It's very.
It's so, and we think in the thoughts of, can we lead it on a Wednesday night or Sunday?
But it doesn't mean we don't like it.
Right.
It's like, that's not a song what we would lead it at church.
Right. This Is the Gospel is a great song, and it is basically, it's the gospel. It's telling you who Jesus is. He died for you. He saved you. It's really great. But also, I love worship music that tells the gospel. Another one is "Count 'Em" by Brandon Lake, talking about Jesus coming with a mouth of fire, or eyes of fire, and a tongue as a sword, and it's just awesome. It's really rocking, and counted by Brandon Lake. Well, you might be hearing a lot of Brandon Lake.
We're big Brandon Lake fans.
Big Brandon Lake fans. Phil Wickham, he's a good guy, and but yeah, well, I'm interested to hear your.
Like, you don't know what it is. My song that I've been listening to for the few weeks now is wow. Hold on. It has escaped me.
David Leonard.
David Leonard sings Light a Fire. Yes, Light a Fire by David Leonard. Great.
David Leonard. It's
Look
great.
it up.
We sang it Wednesday. It is a really good song.
It's a great vertical worship song.
Yeah.
I just love.
What's the first line?
It's like
restoring
me the joy of my salvation, like restoring me that joy that I found when I first was saved, and I still just pray that song over myself. It's the chorus says, "Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Because I'm so tired."
It's okay. You can listen to it. It's a really good song.
Light a fire in me that the world can't burn out.
Yeah,
and I feel like that should be kind of every Christian's kind of prayer right now, because the world's really trying to burn out our fire, and we're not going to let it happen. So.
Yes. And that's...
Look it up, guys. It's a great song.
That's it, you guys. That was our first episode. Holy moly.
I know, and it's almost midnight.
So, where can you find us? Well, you're listening to us, so I appreciate that. We'll look at some other social medias, but right now, we are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I can probably put us on other places. It's pretty easy. We've got a great logo. Sandy made a great logo for Ministry in the Mess podcast. We are very interested in communicating with you all. We'll talk. We talk for an hour. Put me in front of a microphone. I'll keep talking. But yeah, we're tired. It's bedtime. We got church in the morning. It's a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. And
thanks so much for listening to Ministry in the Mess.
All right. Goodbye now. Peace.